Hello, my name is Chizurum Mbazwigwe, and I'm a level 2 intentional yada father. Even though I've been there for 3 years, but speed is not the game. The game is the quality of knowledge. I don't even have an intention to leave or stop or graduate. There is no graduation for me because it's a beautiful place to be, having the right set of people learning every time because knowledge is royalty and knowledge is divine, right? So, so TIP has been incredible value to my family, to myself and my family, my wife and I. Two things stand out, right, in TIP for us, which is number one, the connection tool, and number two, the quality of friends you meet there. Number one, the connection tools are so wonderful. You know, it's not just something you use at the time you are there. It's something for us, we bank the connection tools. So we bank them and we can use them from time to time differently. All right. So, and it's amazing. You know, where you know something, but you just need a guideline to put these things, structure them. When it's time for media, you understand how to, organize yourself because you have a media plan, and all that is amazing. Number two is that quality friend, because I remember 16 days after our marriage, my wife and I decided to journey intentionally to become better parents. All right. And this made us, we started losing a lot of friends. My wife started crying that she doesn't have people to talk to, but I said, don't worry. But when we joined TIP, the game changed. We had quality friends, even making more money, connecting to people of the same value and stuff, having lovely relationships. So it's a good thing. If you're a father out there, you need to join TIP. You need to join TIP. It's important. God bless you. God bless TIP. God bless you, Coach Wendy. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the second section of today. If you are live, if you're in the first section, I want to see the fire emoji in the comment section. We are we've been having a great event since yesterday. If you missed yesterday's event, don't worry. You still get have opportunity to get replays of all the sessions, both yesterday, today, even tomorrow's event. So the first session for today by Coach Chukwuemeka Onyenezi, I call him the financial expert, the Minister of Finance in TIP. The first session was it was so overwhelming. First of all, I right now I'm even regretting that I'm not in the money click, but I'm joining the next session of the money click. I'm definitely going to join it. I don't want to be a backyarder father in TIP. In TIP, there's no room for to being in the back. So anything you're doing, you have to top up your game financially, emotionally, in all aspects. So I will start by I want to read this quote from Coach Wendy's latest book. That's The Kingmaker by Coach Wendy. Now the quote is let me read it. Please give me a minute. It said, imagine a world where parenting no longer leaves scars that requires healing, where every child is equipped with the tools to thrive and every family becomes a beacon of hope and purpose. Now, this is the vision of the Intentional Parents Academy. Sorry, I've not introduced myself. I am Christopher. I'll be your moderator for this second session. Now, for today, if you miss the first session, don't panic. You get replay of the first session. If you're in the last session, I just want you to drop your takeaway from the last session. My takeaway from the last session is that knowledge of money is just 40% of the whole thing. The remaining 60% depends on your habit towards money. The knowledge of money is just 40%. The remaining 60% depends on your habit towards money. Now, in addition, as a father, you have to be teachable. The problem we have with most fathers is that most fathers think that nobody can teach them. Who are you to teach me? How are you to tell me how to train a child? Who are you to tell me how to run my family? My parents that train me? Did anybody teach them? Why why will I be a man and come under a woman, Coach Wendy, to come and teach me? So that's the problem that most fathers have. Now, I'm grateful to TIP for giving me this opportunity to be in this system that transforms life one family at a time. Now, why I joined TIP? Now, most people ask me, Chris, you're not married. TIP is the intentional parenting. So why did you join TIP when you're not married? Now, the first thing I tell them is that, first of all, I regret joining TIP now. I'm just 6 months in TIP. I joined last year December, so I'm just 6 months in TIP. I even regret joining. I wish I joined TIP like 3 or 5 years ago. Like, the transformation I've gotten in my life within these 6 months, is it emotional intelligence? Is it healing from the your childhood trauma, or is it financial session we had with Coach Chukwuemeka Onyenezi last month? The values you get from TIP is endless. It's endless. So now, another thing I tell them is that now most people join TIP for two reasons. It's either you join TIP to secure, or you join TIP to cure. Now, if you join TIP to secure, it means you join TIP early, or you join TIP now, then you are growing with other parents, learning every day, day by day. You are growing, you are growing on daily basis, from the tools in the academy, or from the sessions, from the seminars, from the webinars, from different live sessions. You are growing daily. Then if you now join by to cure, now joining to cure means that you waited. You said, what are they going to even teach me in this TIP? What is a woman going to teach me? Especially when you're a man, what's a woman going to teach me? Then you now come to join to cure. Joining to cure means you come later, booking marathon sessions with coach, maybe to cure a particular misbehavior, or to help your family when the danger finally hits. At that stage, you are paying more. You definitely pay more. You pay more financially, emotionally, and like coach will say, cure is not sure. It's still a 50-50 thing. If at the end of the day your child end up being maybe a drug abuser, let me use that word, yes, coach will try, she will refer you to professionals that handle drug abuse and everything related to drug. But the situation is, at the end of the day, it's still a 50-50 chance. Cure is not sure. So I would our speaker, in the person of David Folaremi, personally I call in the Minister of Drugs. Personally, to me, everybody in TIP, all the faculty members in TIP, that is different coaches in TIP, they are called faculty members. So all the faculty members in TIP, I give them different ministers. The former speaker was Minister of Finance to me. Now, the person of David Folareni, I call him the Minister of Drugs. So I want the team to just please play an introduction, a profile of the next speaker. Thank you.
Sometimes some of these teenagers, that's the first point of call. They want to run to their teens teachers, and if it's because they didn't know what to do. So there's just that knowledge gap when it comes to addiction.
Our next guest is a man on a mission, a passionate voice of hope and healing in a generation battling hidden struggles. Mr. David Folaremi is a fervent follower of Jesus Christ, a trained economist, psychologist, public speaker, certified addiction counselor, and a global mental health advocate with a fierce commitment to youth development and substance abuse recovery. A recipient of several local and international awards, David holds degrees and certifications from Covenant University, Brunel University London, and a master's in applied social psychology. He has received advanced training from the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, Oral Roberts University, and the University of Washington in global mental health. After nearly a decade of meritorious public service, David stepped away to follow a higher calling, supporting teenagers, young adults, and families battling addiction, identity crisis, and mental health issues. He is the founder of the David Folaremi Foundation, the executive director of the Live Free Renewal Center, a faith-based addiction recovery facility with branches in Abuja and Enugu State, and the visionary behind the Live Free initiative, a project transforming lives through awareness, prevention, and policy advocacy. David is a certified John Maxwell team member and sits on the board of multiple forward-thinking organizations in Nigeria and across Africa. He has facilitated national and regional training programs for parents, young leaders, religious institutions, and public sector executives. He has been recognized by the NDLEA as a war against drug abuse ambassador and is one of the only 3 Nigerians certified as a drug abuse recovery support services professional under the Colombo Plan. A globally respected voice, David has shared his powerful recovery story at the Presidential Villa on the UN International Day Against Drug Abuse and has been featured by the Divine Purpose magazine in Barbados and multiple Nigerian media outlets for his stellar work. More than credentials and accolades, David Folaromi is a man of conviction, a man who turned his pain into purpose and now leads a movement of healing, recovery, and restoration. He is joyfully married to Mrs. Nena Temi Folaromi, and together they are raising 3 beautiful daughters with faith and intentionality. Please welcome to the stage of the TIP Fathers Conference 2025, the peculiar man, a warrior of wholeness, and the father to many, Mr. David Folaromi.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank
So,
you.
sir, I wouldn't like to waste much of your time. I'll give you the floor to take us away. Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say I'm grateful to God Almighty for the privilege, the opportunity to be here. I mean, I must be one of the youngest fathers among the speakers, but God has given me this opportunity to speak again at the TIP Fathers Conference. I also want to thank my mentor, my coach. I used to call her coach, borrowing the name from me for them. But my mama, Coach Wendy Ologe, Africa's #1 parenting coach, the one who has given us wings to fly, the one who has lit the path so that we don't make errors. I want to thank you very much, Ma, for this opportunity to speak at this conference. I do not take it for granted, and I'm sure you know that my heart pants after you, and I'm always praying for you. And to the first person I want to wish Happy Father's Day is my mentor and a father, not just to me, but to my entire family. Coach Kunle Ologe, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Thank you for being an example. I've said it many times that if you live around Coach Kunle Ologe, he doesn't need to speak for you to learn. If you just observe him for a few hours, you must learn something. And that's the truth. And it's such a joy that I've been privileged and I've been opportuned to learn from him at close quarters. And some of the things I've learned from him, I'm implementing in my home as a father to 3 beautiful daughters, as was read in my bio. And not just in my home, but even in my organization as a business leader. I have implemented some of the things I've learned from you, sir. And then I must say that they are yielding fruits. Thank you very much, sir. To all the amazing speakers who have spoken before me and who will speak after me, I want to say thank you all for coming together to make this the best TIP Fathers Conference yet. We've been receiving some reviews from the previous speakers from yesterday, and I'm very sure that the Minister of Finance, as he was called today, will soon be receiving several reviews from his session. I want to say thank you. And finally, before I start, to all the fathers here present and to all the fathers who are going to be watching all of the sessions afterwards, I want to say a big happy Father's Day to you. Usually, we're not so remembered. It's always Mother's Day, Mother's Day, Mother's Day. But now we have the Father's Day, and it's our time to do Shakara. And I want to say happy Father's Day to every single one of us who is available now and who will watch afterwards. To all the fathers in the yard, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I know we are enjoying fatherhood with a difference. Just like the anchor was saying, it will take an illiterate, in this age to say you are a father, so a woman cannot teach you. You're just missing out. Those of us who are in the yard as fathers, we are drinking, from Coach Wendy Oluge, and it's showing in our parenting and in our journey as being fathers. For those who are not in the yard, before I start, this is an opportunity. If you look down on the scroll, you are going to see how to join the yard. If you are outside the yard, this is just a tip of the iceberg. Everything you're hearing in these few days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, is a tip of the iceberg of what you will benefit when you join the yard. It's almost as if you're joining the ark. You should not be left out because the flood has come. The flood is no more coming. The flood has come. However, the window of opportunity for you to jump in is still very much there. Please, 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 and please don't say that it is just another online school and blah blah blah. No, that's not what it is. This is a transformational experience that will turn your life around. It will give you an edge in your parenting, and then not just that, your business life, your career is going to see success all around. So please, if you are not a member of the inner circle, I enjoin you to please make your registration now and make sure you join the next batch. Yes, so without taking too much of our time, let's dive into what we have for today. The theme of this year's conference is the making of a father. The making of a father. I must say, by way of introduction, that a man becomes a father in a moment. Boom. The moment somebody gives birth for you, you become a father, right? But the making of a father is a lifetime journey. Yes, the making of a father is a lifetime journey. Please, we should remember that fatherhood is not automatic. Being a father and experiencing fatherhood are not the same thing. I take that again. Being a father and experiencing fatherhood are not the same thing. A man biologically can become a father in the blink of an eye, right? However, the making of a father, the journey of fatherhood is a lifetime journey. It's not automatic. So excelling in being a father takes an intentional approach. The journey of fatherhood is transformational and generational. The making of a father is not about producing children. Please let us understand this today. Anybody can be a father when you produce children, but the making of a father is about building values, protecting and safeguarding futures, being the anchor in a child's ever-changing world. It's not about producing children. After all, we have people who are donating sperm up and down the place, sperm donors. That could make them a father biologically. That could make them be pronounced as a father. But that is totally different from fatherhood. Fatherhood is the making of a father, and it's not automatic. It's one thing to birth a child, it's another thing to take responsibility for the child. It's one thing to produce children, it's another thing to build values that will stand the test of time in those children. That is the making father. It's one thing to birth a child. After all, we have what we call deadbeat fathers. You deposit your sperm and then it produces a child. And even though you are not present, they ask the mother of the child, who is the father? And they say, it is XYZ, because biologically you have produced that child. But you have not gone through the journey of being made a father. Please, we must understand this. The making of a father involves protecting and safeguarding the future of your child. The making of a father involves training up a child. Because the Bible teaches us that we should train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. So if your child departs from the way he should go, then you have failed in the journey of being made a father. And of course, the making of a father involves being an anchor in a child's ever-changing world. Being an anchor in a child's ever-changing world. Every day, our children experience different circumstances that needs the presence of a father to either decipher, to detect how the child should navigate, because there's an ever-changing world that our children live in. What they experience today is not what they're going to experience next week. It's not what they're going to experience in a month's time. It's not what they're going to experience in a year's time. Fatherhood is not about birthing children. It's about the intentionality, because it is transformational and generational. Now, that's by way of introduction. The other speakers have done a terrific job in talking about the making of a father. My topic, as given to me by the Intentional Parents Academy for today, is fathering in the age of influence, raising anchor children in a noisy world. Fathering in the age of influence, raising anchor children in a noisy world. We've talked a lot about fathering, and we know that we live in an age of influence. So much so that we hear the terminology influencer, influencer, influencer. Now, how do we raise anchor children in a noisy world? A world that breathes, blows all manner of ideas, left, right, and center. Tsunamis of ideas are thrown the way of our children. How do we raise those that are anchored solidly and are not shaken or moved by the noise around them? What is an anchor? By way of definition, an anchor could be a heavy object attached to a rope or a chain and dropped in the water to keep a boat or ship from moving. A heavy object attached to a rope or a chain and dropped in the water to keep a boat from moving. So, when we listen to that definition, the question is, are you that heavy object? Are you playing the role of that heavy object that keeps your child from moving left, right, and center, or sinking when the waves of the ocean starts to come around? An anchor could also be described as a device used to hold structures in place, such as bolts or supports embedded in concrete, something that keeps something in one place and stops it from moving up and down the place. An anchor child does not drift in storms. They are steady because someone chose to be their anchor first. So for fathers, please listen. To raise anchor children in a noisy world, you must be the anchor first. You want to raise anchor children that are not easily shaken, that are not easily moved, that are not easily deterred. You as fathers must be the anchor first. That's a responsibility you cannot delegate to anybody, not even to your wife. You can't. You can't delegate the responsibility of being the anchor for your children to your wife. You can't delegate it to your mother. We know those fathers that ship off their children to their mothers to take care of. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. Because you have decided to be lazy. You have decided to delegate your responsibility to mommy. And then your children are being raised by grandma and grandpa because you have chosen not to be their anchor first. Fathers, you must be the anchor first. You want to raise children who will thrive in a noisy world? You want to raise children who will not be moved, who will not be shaken? You must be the anchor first. The age of influence. We live in the age of influence. And we're talking about fathering in the age of influence. We are living in a hyper-connected, hyper-opinionated, algorithm-driven age. Algorithm-driven age. Where we have children being raised with YouTube as their teacher, TikTok as their role model, Instagram as their mirror, AI as their companion. That's the age we live in. Hyper-connected, highly opinionated, internet-driven. That's the age of influence that we live in, where all that matters to our children are the number of clicks and the number of likes, the number of shares, the number of retweets. In this world that we live in today, everyone has become an influencer. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry is now a coach. Everyone is now a mentor. And remember, it is the loudest voice that often wins, not necessarily the wisest. The loudest voice in this sort of world often wins, not necessarily the wisest. In a noisy world, a father's silence can be fatal. Your children are listening. The question is, are you speaking? Your children are listening. The question is, are you speaking? In a world where so many ideas, so many opinions are forced down the throat of your children, where is your voice as a father? Where is your voice? Coach Ebuka will tell us that we have men that are broken, men that are weak, men that are not ready to take charge, bringing children into this world. And then so many people are throwing ideas their ways left, right, and center. On Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter. And then you as a father, who should be the voice of authority, is silent. It can be fatal. In a noisy world, father's silence can be fatal. Your children are listening. My question to you this day is, are you speaking? Even if you're speaking, what are you speaking? It's not enough to speak. It's good to speak. It's not enough to speak. What are you speaking? What are you speaking? Are you speaking life into your children? Are you speaking destruction into your children? Or are you just letting things happen and you watch? Caution, your silence can be fatal. Now, very quickly, as we go with our time, let's look at who exactly are anchor children. Please remember, as fathers, you must first be the anchor before you can even think of raising these sort of children that we're about to talk about. You must be an anchor father for you to raise anchor children in a noisy world. Number one, I think we'll take 3 or 4 as time permits. Anchor children are emotionally grounded children. Emotionally grounded children. And having an emotionally grounded child means that the child has a solid foundation in emotional awareness, self-regulation, and resilience. I wrote a book on resilience, Raising the Resilient Child. Now, if you are not a resilient father, you can't pass across the skill of resilience onto your children. For those of us who are members of the inner circle or follow Coach Wendy very steadily, we'll hear her talk a lot about self-regulation among our children. Self-regulation. Now, by research, evidence-based research, we have been told that self-regulation, among other life skills, is proven to prevent drug abuse among our children. You may have heard in the opening that I am a drug abuse prevention, treatment, and recovery expert. So we have gone deep into research. How exactly can we prevent substance use among our children? An anchor child is an emotionally grounded child. An aspect of an emotionally grounded child is self-regulation. Coach has talked so much extensively about this. And let me tell you, let me just chip it in here. It is also known, a known fact. Fathers, I might get back to this later in the course of the teaching, but in case I forget, let me say it here. Fathers, statistics and research has shown that fathers can detect early signs of drug use in their children almost 6 to 7 times faster than the mothers. Fathers can detect early signs of substance use, and I'm quite sure I'm adding this, other social vices 6 to 7 times faster than the mothers. So when we say that fathers, you have a role to play in the upbringing of your children, it's good to provide, but it's not enough to be out there all 24 hours, 7 days of the week without being at home to keep an eye on the upbringing of your children. Still talking about who anchor children are. We're talking about the emotionally grounded child. It doesn't mean that they do not feel upset or act out, but they have developed tools to understand, manage, express their emotions in healthy ways. Do you also know that children who cannot manage their emotions in healthy ways are susceptible, are at risk of using substances? Have you heard that before? Children that you are raising and you see that are always throwing tantrums because they can't express their emotions. Children that are always unable to manage their emotions in healthy ways. Do you know that they are at risk of substance use? Do you know that they are susceptible to using substances? Now you know. Now you know. So please, as an anchor father, raising an anchor child, remember to instill the skill of emotional regulation in that child. Talked about emotional awareness, Children should learn to calm themselves down without getting upset. Empathy and connection. Anchor children, empathy and connection. Raise children who show care for how others feel. Raise children who can express comfort, who can express concern, or comfort someone else appropriately. Raise children who are confident in expressing their feelings. And of course, raise resilient children. Raise resilient children. With permission from my mentor, Coach Wendy Ologe, I'll show you the book I've just written, Raising the Resilient Child. Raising the Resilient Child. It's a book that every father should get. It's a book that every father should get. It will give you step-by-step guides on raising a resilient child that will be able to say no to substances and be able to bounce back from setbacks. An anchor child in the noisy world is a child that can bounce back after disappointments or failures. Our children may not necessarily succeed all the time, every time we want them to succeed. But the question is, how do they bounce back from failures? How do they bounce back after disappointments? Resilient children also understand that feelings, even the tough ones, are temporary and manageable. Our children should also understand what feels safe and respectfully, emotionally, and can accept themselves. Anchor children in a noisy world. Anchor children in the noisy world know how to say no when needed. Refusal skills is a life skill that every anchor child possesses, and it is instilled in an anchor child by an anchor father. Some of us as fathers don't know how to say no. And you wonder how your child is smoking and drinking. You say, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I'm not an alcoholic. But everything you see to eat, you buy. You can't say no. You see pounded yam and egusi, you buy. You add it with suya, you add Fanta, you add Coke, you add meat pie. As a father, your children are watching. It's time for wedding. You must go for every wedding from your village, from your wife's village, from your streets, from your church, from your club, from your society, from everywhere. And then you now say the Bible says, rejoice with all those who rejoice. So let us rejoice. Your children are watching. They bring something for you to buy. You don't need it. Yet you can't say no. You buy it. Your children are watching. When will we begin to teach our children refusal skills to say no when needed? Anchor children. I was speaking in a seminar somewhere, and we're talking about drug use and the need to instill refusal skills in children. And I said something that got a lot of the women there angry. And I'm going to say it here again. And I hope the men will not be angry with me also. So we're talking about refusal skills. And I said something. I said most of our young girls whose what is called body count has skyrocketed and they don't even remember the number anymore. Sometimes some of it boils down to an inability to say no when needed. Yes. Not necessarily all of them are promiscuous. Yeah, not all of them. Some of them just cannot say no when they say no because there's not been an anchor father who has taught them to say no when needed. Number two, an anchor child has a secure sense of identity and purpose. An anchor child has a secure sense of identity and purpose. Last year, by the grace of God, I wrote a book titled The 12 Pillars of Prevention, the foreword written by Coach Wendy Ologe. In the second chapter of that book, we talked about purpose discovery. Do you know that almost 8 or 9 out of 10 people that pass through the rehabilitation facilities where I work, including the ones I own, have no sense of purpose? They lack a sense of identity. And it breaks my heart that you see 30-year-olds who have supposed to have lived with a father not having a clue what they want to do with their lives. Abomination. And sometimes they sit across the table from me and I am asking them, you mean you have a father? You mean you grew up with your father? And they say yes. We talk a lot about present fathers. We're going to talk about that soon. It's not enough to be present. In your presence, what are you presenting? In your presence, being present, what are you presenting to your children? Are you just present there watching CNN, reading newspaper? You live with a child that grew up 5 years old, 10 years old, 15, 20, 25, 30. And that child does not know his or her purpose. You are an iron condemned father. You are an iron condemned father. Your responsibility as a father includes, not limited to, but includes helping your children chart a course for their life, helping them navigate and understand their purpose, helping them channel their strengths and their energies to their God-ordained divine purpose on earth. At the age of 12, Jesus said, don't you know I should be about my Father's business? And then you are a father with your stomach bigger than my own. Even though Coach Wendy has said that the stomach must come down, and it is coming down. But you are a father, your child is 25. He doesn't know his purpose. Yeah. You should stop eating. Your wife should stop. She should not serve you food this night. She should not serve you food this night. Wake up! It is your responsibility, yes, to help guide your child to understanding his purpose. It is your responsibility to help guide your child to living and working in his purpose. Some of us growing up, our fathers will say, what do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want 10 years? Of course, a lot of us have said we want to be pilot, want to be astronaut. We ended up not achieving that. But you know that when those things are reviewed periodically, it begins to take shape. It begins to take shape. Have you not heard about great persons who were sent back from school for supposedly being too dull? And then a parent, in this case it's a mother, we're talking about fathers, so I just going to say a parent. A parent said, no, my child cannot be that dull. There must be something. There's a gift of God inside this child that will make a way for him. And the child began to soar, and began to thrive. Fathers, wake up. Wake up. We have a call to help our children, to help them navigate this terrain of the world they find themselves in. We've talked a lot about self-confidence and awareness. We're not going to dwell much on that. Our children should know their strengths and their limitations. We talked about emotional stability, bouncing back from setbacks with resilience. Express their feelings appropriately and can name them. Purposefulness and motivation. An anchored child in a noisy world is purposeful and is self-motivated. So you are a father, and then 6 a.m. Your wife is dressing your children to school. You are taking your wrapper. Most of those irresponsible fathers, it's always wrapper they use. I'm not saying all, because some responsible fathers use wrapper, but some of the irresponsible ones use wrapper. At 6 a.m., your wife is dressing your children. You're turning the wrapper over your head and asking if they have boiled water for you to come and take your bath. Irresponsible fathers. Irresponsible. Lack of motivation. Those fathers, your children are watching you. You always have business ideas. They're just watching. Hey, God has given me a business idea. Zero motivation to execute. Among the coaches, Coach Wendy asked us to read the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy. I haven't taken her permission to share this, but I'll ask every father to go and read that book. Go and read The Blue Ocean Strategy. Very important. Execution. Some of us just have idea. God has given us idea. Zero motivation to execute. Zero motivation to execute. Fathers, wake up. This is a clarion call. We are celebrated only once a year. Let us make this one count by doing what we're supposed to do. Be an anchor father that will raise anchor children. Anchor fathers raise anchor children who know how to set goals, work towards them with persistence. Again, I'm talking about lazy, slothful fathers. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and poverty will come. Then you say it's your village people. Yet your children watched you sleep away your destiny. Early morning prayers. Mommy is leading, daddy is snoozing. No goals. Working towards nothing. Oh, come on. We can do better. We can do better. As fathers, we can do better. Number 3, am I on number 3 or number 4? We must raise children with strong moral compass in a hyper sexualized world, in a world where wrong is now called right, in a world where black is now called white. We must raise children who have a sense of right and wrong, who have a sense of right and wrong, who have a sense of right and wrong. Hookup is prostitution. Call it what it is. Don't be that father that you don't know where your daughter is making money from. She comes home with an iPhone 16 and she gives you a gift that you know she can't afford. And you are there smiling like an over-bloated lizard. And you are happy. No. We can't, in the making of a father, in raising anchored children in a noisy world, we can't permit wrong and call it right. Now we have all manner of things our children are into. HK, Puzzle Kingdom. I have quite a number of them that have come through our rehabilitation centers. When they tell me of the stories they experience, going to a place, they are locked up there, they are taught Yahoo. Now we hear that fathers pay school fees for HK for their children. Morally bankrupt fathers are not anchor fathers. Morally bankrupt fathers cannot raise anchor children. Fathers that see clearly what is wrong and you call it right, you see your children doing wrong, you turn a blind eye. You're not what's being called a father. No, you are not what's being called a father. You have not instilled a sense of right and wrong in your children. You can see that what they are doing, they are going down the wrong path, and you turn a blind eye. You are neither hot nor cold. The Bible says, I will spew you out, says the Lord God of hosts. We talk a lot about family values in Intentional Parent Academy. We talk a lot about values. As a father, what values have you set in your family? You come back, you see your child with a child that is smoking and drinking and has tattoos and has earrings, and you wonder why? Have you set any family values that he's going to live by? Even if you have you enforced them? Part of the role of an anchor father is an enforcer. I know too many fathers who are good at setting rules and they leave it at that, no enforcement. And then they begin to come and cry to me that their child has started using drugs. And they said to me, but we said 3 years ago, we said you should not use drugs. Did you enforce it? Did you enforce it? We have too many weak, and I think that is why my brother, Coach Ebuka's work is very, very important. We have too many weak and quiet men who were once weak and quiet boys that were not mentored by anybody, who have become men and have produced children. And that is why the family system is breaking down, because father says these are the rules. That's for those who even give rules that we should live by. These are our values. This is the system we want to operate by. Yet he cannot enforce it. Gone are the days where a father will come back and then woe betide you, the rules of the home, you are going against them. Now to your face, they'll be doing it. And you'll be smiling. And it's their age now. What can we do? There's nothing we can do. You are digging an early grave. For those of you who are in Nigeria, I know this conference is being watched globally. For those of you who are in Nigeria, you know the mortality rate for men, I think it's about 55. For those of you who the right value system for your children, you are even seeing your own father from that 55. An anchor child makes decisions that align with personal and family values. As an anchor father, what are your personal values? Your children should draw strength from your personal values and create their own, not outside the family.
Okay, so I guess our speaker is having a network issue that will be coming up shortly. Mr. Ifobi, you may please unmute yourself and continue.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Our guest is currently off. He will join us shortly. Like he was saying before he left, he said an anchor child makes decision that aligns with the family values. So one of the first things that we get involved with is family values when you join the Intentional Parents Academy. So if as a parent you don't even have family values, you don't even have it laid down, because coach made it important, made it mandatory that you must frame it. It must be, you must position it on a wall that is visible to every member of the family. It's not something you have in your head, you say you have the values. No, it must be visible so that even if visitors come to your house, when they see it, they know that okay, this family, they are driven by these values. So if you don't have it as a parent, now I'm talking to the fathers, if you don't have it as a father, if you don't have it physically, how do you now direct your child? How do you tell your child, okay, these are our values, and you have to plan your own decisions based on these values. If our values that we don't drink, we don't smoke in this family, we don't take what is not ours, but as a father, you don't have it physical, your child will do that. Your child will might definitely go in that direction because it's not visible. But as a father, if you have it in your home, visible on the wall, by the time the child is seeing it from when the child is born, as the child is growing, the child keeps seeing that those values on the wall, it gets into the inside of the child. Okay, I think our guest is back. So welcome back, sir. Welcome back, sir. I think the network
Thank you very
back,
much.
sir.
So it was hanging on my end. Please, can you just let me know what point I made last? Because I'm not sure where exactly it stopped.
Okay, when you're talking about you said an anchor child makes decision that aligns with the family values.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and somebody is saying we must also model our values. No be cho. I'm coming to that. We must model our values. No be cho. So very quickly, let's continue from where we stopped. Network is not going to have anything on us today. Yes, we talked about the sense of responsibility. And then an anchor child must have a sense of integrity. We live in a world where we have made so many names, for lack of integrity, lack of honesty, yahoo, fraud, left, right, and center. I was speaking to somebody recently, and we're talking about the moral compass of our country as a whole, where children are growing up to see what the leaders are doing and how it has become normal to them. We must wake up. We must see the truth. We must realize that this is unacceptable. And as fathers, it is our responsibility to correct that wrong. You are a father here today. God has blessed you. You are in a position of authority. You are a general in the army. You are a governor. You are a senator. You are a president. And you are making fraudulent deals. Your children are hearing you over the phone. And they know that daddy is not truthful. And then they are going to start copying that system of a lack of integrity. And that cycle just goes on and on and on. That cycle just goes on and on and on. Yes, thank you. So our children anchor children have integrity. Of course, there's also social competence. Another thing I've learned very much from Coach Wendy, social competence is highly important in raising anchor children. Our children must be able to build healthy relationships, not just with their parents, but with adults, communicate effectively, listen to others. I mean, when you have children who do not know how to foster meaningful relationships, then they are not going to be anchored in this noisy world. They will be blown away by all the noise coming from left, right, and center. It's very important that we raise children who are anchored, who can create, who can build relationships with peers and adults, and then communicating effectively, effective communication, and back again to life skills that can prevent substance use and other social vices. Fathers, listen up. We must teach our children to communicate effectively. We must also teach our children to comprehend. So some of us are very good at teaching how to communicate, and we ignore teaching how to comprehend. So it's one thing to be able to say something and for people to understand you. It's another thing for you to be able to understand what is being said to you. Effective communication is one of the life skills that is proven to prevent use among our children. And of course, substance use is one of the many noises, one of the many winds and waves and breeze that wants to blow your child off to smithereens. So you must teach a child effective communication so he or she can be anchored and is not moved by the wind that is blowing. The flood has come. We must make sure that our children are anchored inside the ark. And for your children to be anchored inside the ark, as a father, you also must be anchored in the ark. Assertiveness. An anchor child is assertive. An anchor child is assertive. He or she knows what she wants, says it, and sticks to it. It's a story in the Bible, Daniel chapter 3, from verse 13 downwards, where the three Hebrew boys who were taken captive, and then they were supposed to bow to a golden image. After the trumpet has been blown and all the noises have been made, everybody bowed but for these three Hebrew boys. If you go down towards verse 15, after they've been reported to the king, and then a second blow of the trumpet has been done, they went to them and said, You guys are looking for trouble. You are not bowing to the image per the instruction of the king. And I love what they said. Those are anchored children, anchored boys, anchored. He said, "Oh king, we are not careful to answer you in this matter." Shikena, are you raising children that in the face of despair, they will say, "No, we are not going to give in to evil"? Are you raising those sort of children that in the face of serious, issues, they will say no and they will stand their ground? "Oh king, we are not careful to answer you in this matter"? Or you are raising children who will give in at the slightest push or pressure that they face. And of course, anchor children know how to manage conflicts constructively. Conflict resolution is a skill every parent should have, and every parent should pass across to their children. You want to have an anchor child, the child should know how to manage conflicts. The child should know how to manage disputes. Teach your children, because they're going to have conflicts. You can't keep them away from it. You can't shield them from conflict. It's going to come. One way or the other, it is going to come. So you want to raise anchor children, teach them conflict resolution. Yes, substance use is a great wave of our time. So you must be anchored in the ark. You must be anchored in the ark. And let me tell you something. As parents, especially those of us that are new parents, follow everything that is being taught in the academy and practice it. It's one thing to follow, it's another thing to practice. And I promise you, take my word to the bank, your children will not use substances. Take my word to the bank. Everything I've written in these books, drug conversations you must have with your daughters, drug conversations you must have with your sons, the things I need to know about drugs before I grow up, and raising the resilient child are all born from what I've learned from Coach Wendy. So if you want to have children that will live lives free of drug abuse, you have not joined the app, you have not joined the inner circle, please follow what you are seeing on the screen now. For your own good, not for my good, not for her good, for your own good, for your own safety, for your own peace of mind. I've said it oftentimes and many times. I have never intended, and I don't intend ever, to have a parent in the yard call me and say their children are struggling with substances. They are not the people I'm looking for. Those who have refused to pay the price of prevention, the small price of prevention, and they choose to experiment with cure, we are ready for you. We are waiting for you. The rehabilitation doors are open, and then we'll take your children in and do our best to rehabilitate them. But like I said, it's not for anybody who is a member of the yard. We talked about managing conflicts constructively. You must also stand firm in values despite peer pressure. An anchor child, an anchor child will stand firm in their values despite peer pressure. I was speaking at a program a few days ago on how we raise children who can live above peer pressure. As parents, it is an intentional approach. It requires a consistent effort. Somebody wrote in the comment section, modeling, not do as I say. It is do as I do, modeling. Proper communication. Do you know some of us as parents, the problem we have is a lack of proper communication between us and our children? And there must be a strong foundation at home. You must model the behavior. Children learn from what you do, not what you say. We've heard that a lot of times. We're not going to beat too much on that. We've heard that a lot of times. Children learn from what you do, not what you say. Now, as parents, are you consistent in your own values and how you handle social pressure? Are you consistent? Or you are like Reuben in the Bible, unstable like waters, just anyhow. Today you practice refusal skills, Tomorrow, you want instant gratification. And your child is looking at you. And you are confusing the poor boy or the poor girl. And it's like, what is that even doing? Or what is he even saying? As fathers, do we apologize when we make mistakes? Do you know that this models humility and strength? And this is a key component in allowing your child to live above peer pressure. It doesn't make you weak when you apologize. That is a false narrative that we are going to trash here. You apologize when you make a mistake. And you don't apologize the way that our fathers and our forefathers apologized, or especially the mothers. When they ask you that, do you want extra meat? You have done wrong. You are asking the child if he wants extra meat. Is that the apology that the child needs? That's part of the ineffective communication we're talking about. You have done wrong. You apologize. I apologize to my daughter. They say sometimes, anyway, my daughter, you, for instance, ask her to do something. You don't say please in front. You say, Daddy, say please. But I've taught her to say please. So who am I not to now say please? You must model what you want them to do. So when I don't say please, I say, oh my God, I'm sorry. Please, can you do this for me? And then she says, okay, Daddy, and she goes to do it. And then I'm now watching because I have modeled it. Now I want to see her say please when she's doing other things. Build a strong identity. A child with a clear sense of self is less likely to conform just to fit in. We're talking about how to help your children avoid peer pressure. Anchor children, they avoid peer pressure. The world is now pressurized. Pressure. Left, right, and center. Now they are paying people to do bad things. They are paying people. In my time, somebody offered me money in pounds to take drugs. That's the kind of thing we're experiencing in the world today. So we live in a hyper pressure. Everybody is pressuring our children to do wrong things. So we're talking about anchor children who are able to say no. And then another way you can do that is by teaching them to build a strong identity. A child with a clear sense of self is less likely to conform. Help them understand who they are. Help them understand their strengths, their passions, their cultural roots. How many of us saw the post of Coach Wendy about the lady who went to find her father who was missing after a year? I read that thing and read that thing over and over again. As fathers, how many of us have helped our children to understand their cultural roots? How many of us? God has blessed some of us so much financially that we think that there's no need to help our children to understand their cultural roots. It will bite them later in the future if you don't do it. It's very important. And of course, use positive affirmations and encourage self-reflection. These are things we must learn as fathers. We must teach our children critical thinking. Equip them to evaluate situations and make decisions, not just follow the crowd. And guess what? There will be a crowd follower if they've seen that their father is a crowd follower. You are seated at home, about to have dinner with your wife and your children. Your phone rings. Prrr, hello, okay. You are in the club. Okay, Mombo. I said, honey, I'm going downtown. I'll be back soon. Your children are watching. Crowd follower. Always following the crowd. And anything that anybody is doing, hey, election has come. You don't think critically. Hey, I'm from XYZ region. So everybody in XYZ region is voting for Mr. X. Okay, I'm voting for Mr. X. You are doing your child a disservice. Not teaching him or her to think critically in making decisions. Just following the crowd. Everybody is going to Canada. Oh yeah, you tell your wife, let's sell all our load, sell all our property, let's go to Canada. Your children are watching. Have you critically analyzed the situation? Have you critically analyzed what it takes for you to travel? The impact it will have on your family and on your children? Have you read Coach Wendy's book before you jump out? Or you are just getting up and running? Teach your children to think critically. You want them to be anchored, not shaken, not moved, not tossed around by the wind. Teach them to take critical decisions. Sometimes role play, I'm going to come to that, it's somewhere in my notes. Sometimes role play. Create situations where you're in control of the outcome, but allow them to make decisions to influence that outcome and watch them do it. At the end of the day, ask them questions like, why did you do it that way? What would you have done differently? Things like that. Discuss hypothetical scenarios involving peer pressure. Some of us are too lazy. We're intellectually lazy. You can't just think a bit. To you, it's a bother. Discuss hypothetical scenarios involving peer pressure. Hello, John, how are you? Okay, so if this happens like this and this happens like this, and you are boxed in a corner and somebody says you should use drugs, how are you going to come out of it? And then listen to what John, your son, has to say. Not judgmentally, but so that you can correct him and put him in the right path. So many of our sons are using drugs now because they have been pressured into doing it and they did not know how to come out of it. So they were not anchored, and then the wind of drug abuse pushed them, and now they are struggling. Filled up rehabilitation centers. Of course, you must foster open communication. Let your children know they can talk to you without fear or judgment. Coach Wendy told the story of one day. I don't remember the exact story, but I think she told her daughter, Ife, to make a meal, and Ife was not in the mood or something like that. And she said to us that she went to apologize. She went to apologize and she used her hand to go and make the food by herself, and nobody died. And Ife is still doing very well. As a matter of fact, she's a role model to hundreds of thousands of girls globally. There was open communication. You want an anchor child? Create an avenue to communicate without fear of punishment or judgment. You want an anchor child? Let your child think the first person he wants to run to when he has messed up is daddy. And he's thinking not what will daddy do to me, but how will daddy solve this solution? Do your children see you as a solution provider, a problem solver, or they see you as a great punisher? When your children have a problem, do they think of running to you? Or they know that you use, some of you are so wicked, you use beats as excuse not to solve their problem. Daddy, this happened in school, you don't know what to do. So you say, bring my belt. Yeah. Let me tell you. I was going to come to this in our case studies. I think I still have some time. And we have people in the rehabilitation center where I work. The very reason they have given for being in rehab is that their fathers were flogging them for almost zero reason, especially when the fathers don't have a solution. See, we have to change our approach to this parenting thing. We must change our approach. You flog a child because of your own incompetence. A child runs to you. A child you brought into this world has a problem, runs to you for solution. And then because you don't have the solution, you now pretend or not, to be angry with the child and start flogging that child. It is, you are doing a disservice to that child. You are doing a disservice to that child. You must change. You must change that approach. You must change. We have, especially the females. I can think about 3 off the top of my head. The only problem they had was they couldn't communicate openly with their fathers. My wife just put a comment now. She can testify to what I'm saying. They couldn't openly communicate with their fathers. Oh, by the way, I don't know why my wife is here. This is a Father's Day conference, but she's here to support me. Praise the Lord. They couldn't communicate with their fathers. Rather, the fathers will be using cane, fiam, and that set in motion a series of events that have landed them in rehabilitation. Fathers, wake up. As fathers, we should learn to listen. Listen without being judgmental. Listen. Listen more than you lecture. Listen. We will gain more from our children if we listen than we talk. Sometimes not only the verbal communication, the non-verbal communication, the subtle signs, they are talking to you, they are crying for your attention. You are too busy on Instagram and on Facebook, and well, you are making money, we know, but you are neglecting the primary assignment God has given to you. You are neglecting the very same people that you are making the money for. Create regular check-in moments. This will help to build the communication you have with your children. Some of us as fathers, our communication, our relationship with our children has broken down beyond repair because of a lack of proper communication. Broken beyond repair. And if that lack of communication is not established back and that relationship rebuilt, that child cannot be an anchor child. The child will be blown away into the flood that has come. Provide the moral framework. Provide the moral framework. I talked about the moral compass. Provide the moral framework. You see, we have parents now that they tell you that even at the young ages of their children, they are free to choose their religion. They are free to, no, that's not how it's done. As the father, you should be the head of the home that sets the pace for the moral framework of your family, the principles. Your children need a clear compass. They need a clear compass. They don't need guesswork. Reinforce the values you have set. Talk about real life experience where people chose integrity over popularity, where people chose the truth over what is trending. As a father, how are you helping your children make the right friends? I'm not saying pick the friends for them, but have you equipped your children enough with the right skills that will help them to choose the right friends? As a father, you have foresight. As a father, you have the eagle's eye. You should see people who don't respect boundaries. You should see from afar. You should be able to sniff people who are not true to what they say they are and are only trying to find an inroad into your child's life. Discuss with your children what real friendship looks like. An anchored child needs real friends, because having no friends is almost as bad as having bad friends. I'll take that again. An anchored child needs good friends, because having no friends is almost as bad as having bad friends. I talked a lot about role playing, very important. Create scenarios. Prepare your children for difficult conversations. Fathers, these are your responsibilities. Prepare your children for difficult conversations. Role play scenarios. Somebody is pressuring them to miss school. Someone is pressuring them to be disrespectful. Someone is pressuring them to use alcohol and drugs. You know what to do. Find out how they are going to respond to those sort of pressures, and then correct them where they should be corrected. As fathers, we should praise courage over compliance. Recognize when your children make hard but right choices. Celebrate small acts of them standing up for their beliefs. Coach Wendy made a post recently, and she talked about children who are always obeying. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, ma, yes, ma, yes, ma, yes, ma. Those children will be blown away by the wind very soon. Sometimes your children need to say no. Sometimes your children need to stand up for their beliefs. And then fathers, you need to encourage this. And stop overreacting when they make some mistakes. Use those things as teaching moments. Sometimes your child says no. It doesn't always have to say yes. It doesn't always have to say yes. They are building courage in them. They are teaching them to stand up for what they believe in. This will work out if you have created the right values. They will grow to keep saying no to what does not align to those values. irrespective of who is telling them to do it. It can be their teacher, it can be their uncle, it can be anybody. Because we have cases where uncles and other parenting partners have influenced children into using substances, detrimental effect to the entire family. If those children have been taught to say no, even to people who are older than them, when what they're asking them to do is wrong, they wouldn't have fallen prey to those things. Anchor children are rooted in truths, not trends. Not trends. We have fathers who lack identity and follow trends. Your children follow you to be following trends, and that's the blind leading the blind until you people end up in a ditch together. Anchor children don't follow the tide. They know where the shore is. They understand where the shore is. The flood has come. I love this topic Coach Wendy gave me. The flood has come. If your child is an anchor child, they don't follow the tide. You know what they do? They understand where the shore is. Raising such children requires fathers who are anchors. Everything I've been talking about, you can't do it if you are not an anchor. Strong and rooted. Immovable means the waste of culture. Your children are watching. How you treat their mother, they are watching. How you respond to situations, they are watching. How you respond to difficult situations, they are watching. How you respond to pressure from work, they are watching. They are watching. Very quickly, in the next 5 or 10 minutes, let's take on the father's role in shaping anchor children. The father's role in shaping anchor children. We've talked a lot about what an anchor, who an anchor child is, and what are the fathers shaping anchor children. Number one, your presence over presence. In the Fathers Conference, TRP Fathers Conference last year, I talked about this, and I explained how, not by intention or purpose, my father was hardly around while I was growing up. And you see, so when those issues that I faced that led me into substance use began to creep up, there was no male figure to figure it out quickly. So your presence is more important than the presents you buy for them. Of course, both are good. Presence and presents are good. But if you have to pick one, it should be your presence. The greatest gift a father can give is his presence, not his presence. Coach Kunle Ologe taught me that children spell love as T-I-M-E, time spent with them. Time spent with them. Listen, anchor children are not self-raised, they are fathered. Anchored children are not self-raised, they are fathered. They are fathered by anchored fathers. They are fathered by anchored fathers. You can't raise an anchored child in absentia. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I told a story about a young girl I met in Lagos when I went for a program. I finished speaking. She ran to me, said, "Sir, I'm using drugs." A girl of 13 years old. I soon found out. What's the problem? Her father was never around. It's a very popular figure in Nigeria. Sent a lot of money, put her in one of the biggest and the best and the most expensive schools in Lagos. But then she found alcohol in his closet. Started drinking the alcohol she found in her father's closet. And then started sharing with friends who eventually gave her marijuana. And then it went down to cocaine at the age of 13. This had been happening for 2 years. She and her father are in this same country. And then the father saw her in the last 2 years 3 times because he was too busy chasing his political ambitions in Abuja while she was living in Lagos with a steward. And then it escalated very quickly from alcohol consumption to cocaine consumption. Then after a series of tests was run on her, we found out that the liver had started giving way and the kidney had problems. She had to be flown out to India for medical attention because of an absent father who was sending gifts and presents instead of presenting his presence. Your child may not remember what you bought them for Christmas at 12, but they'll never forget who showed up at their school programs. Never. One day I had a program in Abuja. I was supposed to fly from Lagos, Port Harcourt to Abuja. I found out there was a connect. I could go through Enugu. And that day was my children's, what's that thing they call it? That they wear the thing that they want to be in future. Career day. And then I said, okay, why don't I surprise my children and go through Enugu State? It wasn't convenient. As a matter of fact, my wife had already planned to attend the program. I said, okay, I'm flying into Enugu, and then I'm going straight to my children's school. And I did that. And the joy on the faces of my children was unexplainable. Now, did I buy them anything that day? I doubt it. I don't remember. But they still remember that I came to their school on that day because I was present when they wanted me to be. So the father's role in shaping an anchor child: number one, presence over presence. Number two, you are the architect of their identity. Identity architect. That's the role of an anchored father in raising an anchored child. Fathers help children to answer the question of who am I? When I was in London studying for my master's degree, which I didn't eventually get because I started using drugs, I had a friend from Pakistan whose father was a top government official. He would say to me, David, what is the meaning of life? That's how he spoke. What is the meaning of life? He said, I have been born into affluence, wealth, and power. Yet, at this stage of my life, I do not know the meaning of life. Why? Because there's been no father to teach him what life was about. There was no father to instruct him. There was no father to guide him. There was no father to tell him who he was. There was no father to be an architect of identity for him. Be the first voice of affirmation before the world tries to define them. Too many people are interested in telling your children who they are not. If a father does not speak into the destiny of a child, if the father does not call out the child's identity, you know who will call it out? TikTok. TikTok will help you create the identity of that child. Many children are lost in obscurity because no father had told them who they were. Many children have become homosexuals and lesbians because no father stood and told them that they were not homosexuals and lesbians. They went out there and somebody said to them, look, the way your eyes are is like you're a lesbian, and they believed it because no father. Because no father to tell them who they are. TikTok is willing to tell them. Instagram is willing to model to them what they should be. It's all ready. Number three, responsibility of an anchor father and raising an anchor child. You should be a boundary setter in a borderless world. A boundary setter in a borderless world. Set healthy boundaries for your children. Teach discernment, not just discipline. There's a difference. Now listen, in the age of unlimited access, limits exemplify love. Limits. As fathers, we are the ones to create those boundaries. We are the ones to say enough. This is where it stops. We are the ones to say this is the limit of what you can do part-time. That is love. Set healthy boundaries. Because we're in a borderless world. Everything is open. Your child can be seated in your house in Katampe and is talking to somebody in Tokyo, Japan. Borderless. And you can't even understand the level of influence that that one is having on him. Number four, be a model. Children become what we model, not what we say. Integrity is louder than our actions. Again, Coach Wendy will always say, your children will figure you out. Fathers, your children will figure you out. Those of us that know the story about how Coach Wendy's daughter saw a message on the father's phone and thought Coach Kunle had a side chick, but eventually found out that it wasn't. It was the mother's number who was saved with it with number 2. And then she said it many years later, your children will find you out. It's just a matter of time. Your children will find you out. So instead of allowing them to find you out and you destroy their lives, why not sit up, do what is right, and model right behavior to them? As fathers, your life is a curriculum. Your life is your children's curriculum. What they are learning by watching you. Now, in closing, let me give very quickly 3 case studies. I had a young boy, of course, name would help, came into rehab, and then this guy had just decided to be involved in truancy. Zero regard for law, zero regard, respect, nothing. As a matter of fact, we assumed he was on a self-destruct mission. We thought he wanted to kill himself. That's what we were thinking. What is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? He just wanted to always do what was wrong. He always wanted. He was using drugs to the point that he wanted to overdose and die. We did everything we can, and of course, one of the things we pay attention to at the Live Free Renewal Center, our rehabilitation facility, is the root cause analysis. Because if you don't find the root cause of the problem, then you're just going to be dancing around in circles. It's easy to treat the addiction. That's the easy part. The more difficult part is finding out the why. And then when we dug in, and we dug deep, and of course there were family sessions, there was family psychoeducation, there was family therapy sessions, we began to unearth truths of why this, thank you, Apostle, of why this young person had struggled with substance use. You want to know why? The father had been cheating on the mother, and the young boy found out, and he got mad and did not know how to express himself in anger to the father. So he was on a mission of self-destruction. That's number 1. I'll wrap up in 4 minutes. Number 2, I have another case, rehabilitation. It's a young girl. What's the problem? I said it when I was teaching, a break in communication. She had a problem in school, ran to her father for help, and the father instead started flogging her, and it broke the relationship she had with her father. And then after that, she started using substances. Even while living with the father did not notice. And then it escalated into a serious disorder that even caused mental health issues. So she came to rehab. We did our root cause analysis. It boiled down back to the relationship she had with her father. And the third one, the father who was hiding his alcohol consumption, even though he was an alcoholic. From what we now found out, the father would even fall down in gutters, take some time out, tell the family is not around, go and use alcohol. And then this child found out and then started following after the father. What's this thing that my father is taking that we don't know about? And then he started taking it, and then the boy became a severe addict. And then he had to come into rehabilitation, and then we had to start trying to treat him. Of course, there are case studies on the positive side. Because my time is over, we're just going to take one. Let's look at one father, a case study of a father who raised an anchor child. And for me, we can say Charles Stanley. Yeah, he was a pastor. And of course, Andy Stanley, renowned pastor and communicator, even with deep ministry obligations, they fostered spiritual foundation. He fostered a spiritual foundation for his child. Many years later, his son said, my dad didn't push me to be like him. He helped me to find out who I was in Christ. Now, the key lesson here is raise children with spiritual convictions, not just behavioral expectations. I'll take that again. Raise children with spiritual convictions, not just behavioral expectations. Coach Wendy has said it many times, or maybe I think Coach Kunle, or both of them. Many of our children, once they leave our homes, we stop going to church, and that's the truth. I see it already because I'm in that age group of people who have left I work with that age group of people who have left their parents' homes, and we see that they're not going to church anymore and simply just telling lies because there is never a spiritual conviction. Fathers don't just raise children, they raise futures. I'm closing now. Fathers, you just don't raise children, you raise futures. When the world gets louder, the father's voice must get clearer. We live in a noisy world, very noisy. But when the world gets noisier, the father's voice must get clearer. A father's affirmation is the first armor a child wears into a battlefield of identity. Yes, a father's affirmation, especially those of us that have young girls, they crave it. It's like dopamine for them. They want to hear the affirmation come from you. It's not just for girls, but for the boys too. The influence of a father, even if quiet, is never small. It echoes into generations. And finally, your ceiling becomes their floor, so build high. I take that again. Your ceiling becomes their floor, so build high. And with this, I've come to the end of my presentation for today. I want to say a big thank you again to the entire team who have worked behind the scenes with my darling mentor and coach, Kutwendi Ologe, and her darling husband, Coach Kule Ologe. I want to say thank you, and I look forward to being on this session again next year, Father's Day. Thank you, and bye for now.
Wow. That was a lot. That was really a lot. In your last word, you said your ceiling becomes their floor. Build high. It means where you actually stop as a father, that's where your children start. So build high. You have to raise the bar high. Wow. One of the what I learned so far is, as a father, you have to keep speaking because your children are listening. So if you are not speaking, they are listening to other voices. They are listening to social media, especially TikTok. Most parents are not even on TikTok, so they don't even know what is going on. They are just on Facebook. Facebook that is actually regularized and decent. Let me use that word. If most parents will even join TikTok, you won't need to preach to them to join TIP, because what they see what their children are doing in TikTok, it will send the message home. I know we've learned so much things. Please, I don't know if you have questions. If you have any question, you can just drop it on the comment section. You can maybe use the word question to start the question so that we'll know questions and make it easy to identify, because there's so much so much knowledge in the comment section alone. So just precede the question with a question tag so that we'll know there's a question. Thank you so much, sir. But we'll have to go on a short break. Then when we come back from the break, we'll start tackling the question. So, admin, please, let's go on a short break.
Dear fathers, we once again welcome you to the Intentional Parents Fathers Conference 2025, Making of a Father. Let's be honest, being a father is one of the greatest honor and also one of the hardest jobs. There is no off, no switch, most of the time, no support. But what if you didn't have to carry the weight alone? That's why we at the Intentional Parents Academy have put out a pack, Legacy Pack. Inside you'll find the Legacy Mapping Tool, guided reflections on personal fatherhood, the fatherhood inventory, the belonging statement, legacy letter templates, affirmation and declaration for fathers, 30 days intentional fatherhood challenge, template for father-daughter and father-son days guide, prompt card for spark intentional conversation, and the legacy mapping. 10 powerful tools to help you live, connect and grow, not just as a man but as a father. This is your moment to seize this opportunity and get this pack just for 10,000 naira. This is your moment. At this conference only, the 10-in-1 bundle pack is available at a special rate of 10,000 naira. Don't live with just motivation. Live with tools to help you lead your home well, because your child don't need a perfect dad. They need a present one. Let's rise together.
So I'm still looking out for the questions. If you have any question, let's just put it down. While we are still waiting for the question, Mr. David, please, I would like to ask this question. You said while you're teaching, you said an anchored child is not self-raised; they are fathered. So what of in a situation where maybe the child lost his or her dad at an early stage? So does it mean that the child cannot be an anchor child?
Sorry, I didn't hear you were breaking up when you started the question. I only heard the end. I only heard, does it mean the child cannot be an anchor child?
Okay, you said, and while you were teaching, you mentioned that anchor children are not self-raised; they are fathered. So my question is, what in a situation where the child maybe lost her dad or his dad while in the early stage of their life? Does it mean that they
What
cannot
are
be
you talking
anchored?
about? Let me help you. See, Kochebuka, there are plenty children in this house there that don't know their father is. So losing your dad does not mean you can't be an anchor child. You just need somebody to play the role of an anchor father to you, a mentor, a coach, a spiritual father, somebody who can take up that responsibility and play that role of an anchored father. Coach Ebuka is one of them. He's an anchored father to many anchored boys. Many. He doesn't even know how many anymore. So just join that. And if you're a girl also, and you join the girls' home, yes, you join the girls' home. Auntie Etima is also an anchored father. Did you hear me? She's an anchored father. She will anchor you to be an anchored child. If you are a girl, join the girls' home. If you are a boy, run to the Boys Leadership Academy and you will be an anchored child. Don't worry if you have lost your father at childhood. Sorry about that. But we have coaches and mentors who are ready to transform you into an anchored child. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So, and in the place of the father is absent or dead, you have to find a mentor to take the place of the father. So, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. It's been so much. It's been so much. We have to even go through this session again to get the knowledge. The knowledge is so much. Thank you so much. The insight is so much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time. Sir, any final closing remark before we leave?
Yes. Fathers, you have a responsibility to help your children create the future that they deserve. It's very important. We live in a world that is very noisy. Everybody wants to influence. Everybody wants to speak to them what they want them to be, not what you want them to be. So it's your statutory responsibility to make sure that their ears are blocked to all of those external noises. Of course, one of the issues we have today in the world is the drug abuse issue. So I've written 4 books, and then Coach Wendy has said I can share them on this platform. The first is Conversations on Drugs You Have to Have with Your Sons. It's very important to be a father. You have a son. You don't want to know what we're experiencing with young boys and substance use. Please get this book. It's still on pre-order. Things I need to know before I grow up about drugs. A very important book for all your children. Every father should get this. A book, my favorite, Raising the Resilient Child. It's also Coach Wendy's favorite. It's a book that every father should get to raise a resilient child. And finally, for those of us who are girl dads, drug conversations you must have with your daughters, because the ladies are beginning to come up in the drug use business, and we don't want that statistics to be in any of our children. So please get these resources. It's the price you have to pay for prevention. It's a fraction of what you have to pay when the problem arises. At the end of the day, I want to just say thank you all for being here, and I look forward to having you soon. To seeing you again next year. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So that will be the end of this section, and I would advise us to just still chill for the next session. The next session should be starting very soon. And sorry, this session had to take this time, but the next session will also be awesome. Thank you very much for this session.
June is here again for the Intentional Parents Annual Fathers Conference 2025. I am so excited and so glad and expectant because I know it's another moment of growth for me. However, I feel so sad when I see many men raising families without any formal parenting knowledge and accountability system. It looks to me like the men
are still cruising with pride, literally in their grandfather's 1960 old model Beetle car that has little to do in this generation. Check yourself. If all you have is raising the next generation, in raising the next generation is only how you were raised, then you are one of those men. Here, in Fathers Conference, in connection with the Intentional Parents Academy every June, is where we renew, we recharge, and revamp our parenting strategy and drop our old ways and life. The Intentional Parenting Academy is the ark of safety in this era of parenting that helps to train and equip you to have a happy life. Fathers, everybody connected to you becomes better when you are transformed. Quote me. Now is the time to start becoming, belonging, and building legacies. I am Joseph Ajo, a happy Yada father. Meet me in the yard, Joe.